I've worked for a lot of people in my career, and I can honestly say that there's no leader that I have more respect for than Rick Torgerson. He exudes such a sense of love for the college, and starting with that initial strategic planning process, you could just tell that he had a vision for where he wanted this college to go to. Any leader can have a vision, but the way that Rick is able to follow through and hold people accountable and develop consensus, it's just really second to none in my experience.
Well, Rick came to Luther with a rare combination of skills that was just uniquely suited to advance Luther. He's got keen strategic insights, great interest in strategic planning, but he paired that with an ability to develop funds in support of the strategies and then worked with a team to effectively execute against those strategies.
And so I think people have come to expect in the last several years that things are going to happen. And part of the nice thing about Rick's tenure at Luther is that it's been relatively long. And so we had time to get to know him, and he had time to get to know us. And we had time to do this planning, and now we've had time to see things happen. And so people have gotten confident that we're going to be able to see other things happen. So I think his legacy is going to be long at Luther for changing the attitude around here that we can do things.
During the period of time that I've been involved with the college, which is the last 12 years, our endowment growth has been phenomenal, but we have actually raised more money than we've taken out of the endowment, which is a very unusual thing for colleges in our situation. So it's a credit to Rick, but also a credit to the whole development team.
Rick combines a real friendliness and a very open and kind of, warmth that he has with people, with and really no nonsense. Say what you mean what you say, let's get down to it, and why isn't it finished by yesterday sort of approach. And I admire him for that, I really do.
In general, I think staff at Luther feel proud to be a member of the community, think Rick is a great leader, and will do just about anything he asked.
You see the kind of the Lutheran spirit or character of Rick, his commitments, in part by the questions that he asks, but I also think in the ways that he is always seeking to live out his own vocation. And I see that in a variety of ways, that his study of biology connects with this whole vision and mission of sustainability, which is not just an environmental agenda, but it's also a core Christian commitment to care for creation. And so that's living out your baptism.
I never witnessed him on a single moment ever putting himself before Luther. I never saw his ego. I never saw him say, I wonder what this will say about me if I do this. He simply did what needed to be done, and with astounding, consistent courage.
In our last strategic planning process, sustainability took a prominent role. One of the things that's interesting about Rick's leadership on sustainability, and particularly with the President's climate commitment, is it's not just leadership at Luther, but it's leadership across the country in higher education. For him, it really is about driving not just Luther College, but all of higher education forward. And he's taken Luther College into a position of national prominence when it comes to dealing with sustainability. And I think that's going to be one of the legacies of President Torgerson here, but across all of higher education.
My favorite memory of Rick and Judy, I guess, would be just having them here and seeing their smiling faces and Rick's bear hug grip. I think that is something that you kind of brace yourself for. You know it's coming, and you get prepared for it.
I think it's awesome that we were able to convert 2 Concordia grads to, in essence, a Luther alum. Rick wears a Luther college ring on his finger, and Judy wears one around her neck.
Oh, Rick is a golfer. Terrific. He loves to be outside, to get away, where he can just think. We have a golf outing for alumni in Arizona. Rick won't miss it. In fact, he sets the date, so he can't miss it.
I remember a time when Rick made my seniors on my team feel so special. We had made it to the national championships in 2010, which meant overall that the girls would be missing the graduation here at Luther the next day. And the bus pulls up in the circle drive of the Regent Center, and he's standing there with a bunch of stuff in his arms. And as we get off the bus, Rick decides he's going to do this mini graduation ceremony and hand delivers all 6 of my seniors their diplomas. It was one of the neatest things that I've ever been a part of here.
You definitely get to see the care that he has for this campus. He absolutely pours his heart out into everything he does here. One thing that I will definitely miss is singing on stage in the CFL and looking out in the audience and seeing Rick and Judy Torgerson sitting there smiling and just loving absolutely every minute of it.
Well, we hire a president, but we got a diamond of a person in Judith. Honestly, we gain 2 wonderful leaders for the price of 1. That's the way I look at it.
Well, one thing you see about Rick and Judy as a team is that they are both teachers with a heart for students. And some of the ways you see that, they're almost omnipresent. They're like the Holy Spirit, because at Luther you'll see them everywhere. And you can have a football game, a soccer game, there might be some other music events and other things. If you go to those events, you'll see Rick and Judy at all of them. They really take an interest and they really enjoy watching students develop and grow through these opportunities. They take it to heart, and it's fun to hear from students who get to know them and they realize, wow, they care about me as a person.
To see them both together, especially when they greet students and their parents, it's 100% engagement all the time. I don't know how they do it, and their stamina is just incredible.
The first thing I think about when I think about Judy is her heart. If you are in the midst of sorrow, or you're in the midst of great joy, if you're in the midst of being a little bit detached, she just comes and crosses that space and comes and stands with you. And it's a tremendous gift of the Spirit. And her ability to just be strong and steady, and I believe has a strong sense of who she is and a deep inner peace. She exudes that.
They're straightforward, authentic people. And it's a real joy to work with people who are what they are in that way. And I think it's been good for the college because it's added to the sense that Luther is a place where people can be who they are. And I think Rick's legacy will be that he and Judy both have maintained that sense of hospitality and openness to people being who they are, but also relentlessly, always trying to improve the quality of the college and improve what people know about Luther College.
Rick is an individual whose leadership was exactly what we needed for Luther at exactly the moment that we needed it. I think we are much clearer about our mission and probably more passionate about the unique place we play in higher education, particularly Lutheran higher education.
We couldn't have had a better president for the time that we've just gone through. It's a much better place now than when he arrived, not only in the physical plant, but the long-term sustainability of the college.
I'm a senior, and this is my 4th year in the symphony orchestra. In my sophomore year, during a standing ovation, I looked out into the audience and I saw President Torgerson, and he gave me 2 thumbs up, and I gave him a smile back. And ever since then, we've had that same ritual of him giving me 2 thumbs up and me smiling back at him. So something I wanted to tell President Torgerson was, way to go, and thank you for your time and effort at Luther College and your contribution to Luther. And thank you for influencing me and just being awesome.
Rick and Judy, thank you so much for your years of service, the efforts you've put in, what you have created, and what you have accomplished. Thank you very much. Wow, fun, wow.